right, let's do it. Here we go. Bengals, Steelers. I'm going to give you first crack at this because you are a lifelong Steeler fan, although you cover the league, obviously, objectively. They're just not good enough right now. Where is the biggest problem? What's fixable? What's not?
Well, I'm objectively convinced that Big Ben probably needs to be on the bench. And for being honest, EK, he probably should have retired last season, and the Steelers should have moved on. They chose not to. They came back with him. And the results are pretty predictable. It's what we saw over the final 5 weeks of the season after the 11-0 start, and the wheels came off. Nothing's changed, and in fact, you argue they're worse. The offensive line is an absolute mess. This play right here encapsulates everything you need to know about the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2021. What are you looking at? That is one of the worst throws in the history of the forward pass. I have no explanation for this. I don't know what you're doing. Fall down, big guy. Instead, he throws an interception. That isn't why they lost the game. They lost the game because they played 4 quarters of football against the Bengals team, as you noted in the highlights, EK, that historically haven't been very good against Pittsburgh. But here we are, and the Steelers aren't getting better. In fact, they're going to get worse. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. I feel like that's going to change. Even when a few years ago it was Duck Hodges and Mason Rudolph leading that team to 8-8. If they win 8.5 games this year, that will be a miracle, partly because you can't win a half a game, but because they don't look like a team that could get close to 9 wins. They very easily could finish last in this division, and that's a huge concern. If you're a Steelers fan, just lean on the fact that you've had a couple Super Bowls the last 15 years.
I'm going to give you the Bengals. Look, it's the Bengals. Every year they've been sort of a laughingstock. You know, they're going to find a way to give it away. Does it feel different, or does it just feel like this was more about Pittsburgh not being your older brother Steelers than the Bengals starting to turn the corner?
Well, I'll say a couple of weeks ago when the Bengals made that win where they won in a game that was within 3 points for the first time in the Zach Taylor era. Before that, 0-7-1, I believe, 0-6-1. They finally got that win. Okay, now you need to build on that. And then they lost the next week, and now in a close game with the Bears. And now getting this victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's huge for them. And they did it without T. Higgins. Obviously, they had Tyler Boyd and they had Jamar Chase, who, EK, you mentioned in the highlight, is finally able to haul in that pass. They're getting more than 100 rushing yards on the ground. But, EK, you asked me, was it more about the Bengals? I want to give them credit. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, for the 10th consecutive game dating back to last year and including the playoffs, did not have 100 rushing yards. 40 rushing yards for Najee Harris. He was supposed to turn things around back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last season, hey, it was James Conner, it was a couple of dudes, but now after they drafted Najee Harris in the first round, he was going to be the difference. No, that offensive line still stinks. And they jettisoned some guys. They tried to reformulate it with their cap issues, and they cannot run the football. Now, Najee Harris was targeted 19 times and caught 14 balls as a running back. Like that, Christian McCaffrey doesn't do that. Alvin Kamara doesn't do that. Dalvin Cook, when he's healthy, he doesn't do that. That's not what you're supposed to do. And Ryan, you mentioned it sort of perfectly encapsulated the Pittsburgh Steelers with that interception that Ben Roethlisberger threw. I would argue that on 4th and 10, what perfectly encapsulated the Pittsburgh Steelers and sort of gotta have it down 2 scores. Ben Roethlisberger throws it to Najee Harris 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, hoping that Najee's gonna do the rest and get a first down on 4th and 10. That's where this team is, where Ben Roethlisberger can't throw the football effectively down the field. 5 of 13 today on throws of 10-plus yards down the field beyond the line of scrimmage. Not going to get it done in any NFL game. Teams have figured them out, because last season they didn't have to run the football and they snuck by the first 11 games. Then teams figured it out. That continues this year.
Yeah, it seems like, look, when they have a bad line, the way they're trying to adjust instead of fixing the line, or they don't feel like they can fix on the fly, is last year it was, okay, we're going to just Deontay Johnson. They're essentially runs. This year, it's kind of the same thing. And we didn't have Deontay Johnson this week, so Najee Harris, you're going to catch it 14 times on short passes. He had 14 rushes, 14 receptions. They gave him the ball 28 times. Unfortunately, it was not enough. And Pittsburgh, you have to think they are in real trouble, despite the fact they went up to Buffalo and won, which is very strange. Although they got a special teams touchdown in that game and their defense played well, you have to wonder if this offense is going to be good enough.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.